Hi there, I'm Aki from Aki Gaming and welcome to another episode on Fire Emblem Heroes. In this video, we will be looking at the 4 new heroes from the Rite of Shadows banner. First, Celica, Caring Princess. A childhood friend of Arm and the Princess of Zofia. She is kind, polite and a firm believer in bringing peace without fighting. However, she will fight to either protect herself or to save others. Celica's basic stats total is 148, with a combined rating of 162 after weapon equip. She has very high speed at 33 followed by her attack at 32. She holds the legendary tome Ragnarok, which has a might of 14. It grants her a +5 on attack and speed during initiation if she has full HP. However, she will receive 5 damage after combat if attacking. Basically, it's a weapon that comes with Darting Blow and Death Blow. The only downside is, it could only be used once if you do not have healing support, but that could be easily fixed. Silica comes with a new passive skill A, Distance Defense. It grants her a +6 on defense and resistance if being attacked by ranged units. This skill tremendously increases her survivability in the arena against foes that uses bow, dagger, magic and staff. Her passive skill in C is Spur Defense. It grants adjacent ally a +4 in defense during combat. A useful skill for her to boost allies' defense while they are tanking. Silica has an AoE special, Blazing Light, that deals 1.5 times damage to foes in an area near the target before initiating combat. As a mage, the damage for this special will be calculated by deducting enemies' resistance instead. Same as all the other AoE special, it ignores weapon advantage of foes, which means there will not be a -20% attack when it casts on a blue unit, but at the same time, there will not be an advantage over green units either. Silica is weak when it comes to receiving damage. She has low defense and resistance, even though her speed could easily prevent foes from making a follow-up attack, but try to avoid going against foes with brave weapons. Let's have a look at the recommended build for her. For her weapon, it remains unchanged, since Ragnarok is probably the best tome a mage can ever ask for. As for assist, I would highly recommend you give her reciprocal aid so she could swap HP to keep her weapon's ability active. A good special for Silica would be Eater. It resolves combat as if foes suffered a -50% on defense or resistance, and she would restore HP equal to 50% of the damage dealt. This special not only will increase her survival rate, but also keeping her healthy. Let's look at her passive then. For slot A, you could let her inherit life and death. With this, her attack would be 56 when initiating combat in full HP. Not only that, her speed would be at a high 43, which could easily double most of the foes. Since Silica requires her HP to be full in order to maximize her damage output, you could give her a Renewal at slot B, a passive skill that restores 10 HP of the holder every 2 turns. Lastly, for passive C, I would recommend you giving her Threaten Resistance so she could deal even more damage, especially when facing against units which she has weapon disadvantage. The recommended IV for Silica would be a +speed or +attack, and -defense or -resistance. Boey, Skillful Survivor. An apprentice mage who devoted to Silica's protection. Bowie is very conscious and slightly insecure of himself, hence he tends to talk highly of himself to assert a good image. Bowie's basic stats total is 149 with a combined rating of 159 when equipping his default weapon. As a mage, he has very high HP and defense at 43, 32 respectively. He holds a green tome called Grown Owl Plus that has a might of 10. It boosts his attack, speed, defense and resistance equal to the number of adjacent allies ×2 during combat. So by right, the maximum boost he could get would be a +6 on all stats. With proper positioning, it could be a powerful weapon on the battlefield. Bowie has a brand new passive skill at slot A, which is Earth Boost. It grants the holder a +6 on defense during combat if his HP is 3 or more higher than his opponent prior to the start of a fight. A useful skill when you're going against melee units, especially archers. His passive skill at B is Renewal that restores 10 HP at the start of every 2 turns, a skill that greatly prolongs his survivability. Bowie's special is Ignis. It boosts his damage dealt equal to 80% of his defense with a cooldown of 4. It works great when paired with his weapon and passive A skill, as those two increases his defense, which resulting to an even higher damage output. Bowie's weakness is his low resistance against magic damage. Not only that, his speed is mediocre at best, which result in him getting hit twice very frequently. As a green unit, it's best to avoid confrontation against any raid mages. Let's take a look at the recommended build for him. Grown Out Plus will be remain as his weapon. As for his assist skill, I will recommend Reposition, as he can move an ally to his back so he can tank them with his high defense. Because of his low speed, Bonfire would be a better special to be inherited for Bowie. It boosts damage dealt to 50% of his defense instead of 80, but with a lower trigger count of 3. Now for his passives. It is recommended to give him Fury at slot A. It grants him a +3 on his attack, speed, defense and resistance, but takes 6 damage for every combat. The extra stats boost would increase his damage and make him even sturdier. To overcome his mediocre speed, you could let him inherit Lance Breaker at slot B so he could attack Lance unit twice disregarding his speed. Same as Silica, in order for him to deal more damage, give him Threaten Resistant at slot C. The recommended IV for him would be a plus attack, minus resistance. Mei, Bundle of Energy. An adept mage who is well aware of her talent, Mei is constantly in pursuit of self-improvement, which causes an intense rivalry with Bowie. Her role is Silica's servant, however, the two are very close friends. Mei's basic stats total is 148, with a combined rating of 158 after weapon equip. She has very high attack at 36, followed by speed at 31. Similar to Bowie, she also uses the Owl Tome, Blah Owl Plus. It has the same ability as Bowie's, but is for blue instead. Mei passive B is Desperation, which allows follow-up attack to occur immediately during initiation when her HP is 75% or less. It's like having a brave weapon but only trigger when life is low. She comes with a new passive in C, which is Blue Tome Experience. It gives all blue magic users 2 times the experience as long as she's on the field. A good skill to quickly level up other Blue Tome units. Mei's assist skill Drawback lets her move 1 space away from a target adjacent ally who moves to her former position. A good positioning skill to move allies out of enemy's reach. Even though she has very high magic resistance, but her defense is extremely low, which makes her a target for bows, daggers and melees. It is advisable to avoid going against physical damage. Here's a recommended skill build for Mei. For her weapon, it's recommended to keep her tome for that extra stats boost when needed. The build that we are going for, I would suggest you to give her Ardent Sacrifice. And with her high resistance, the best special for her would be Iceberg. It deals damage equal to 50% of her resistance with a cooldown of 3. How about her passive? Life and Death would be the ideal skill for her in slot A. By boosting her attack and speed, she gets to deal more damage and having more follow-up attacks. It's essential to keep Desperation at slot B to make this build works. So, for slot B, it remains unchanged. And lastly, for her passive in C, Threaten Speed will be the preferred skill to lower foe's speed to guarantee her a follow-up attack every time. The recommended IV for Mei would be a plus speed, minus defense. Genny, Endearing Ally. A cleric that works at Priory that she lived and trained for years. She is somewhat lacking self-confidence, claiming she could only heal minor injuries despite her great healing powers. Genny's total base stats is 147 with a combined rating of 153 when equipping her default weapon. She has a very high attack at 35, followed by resistance at 34. She wields the staff Gravity that has a might of 6. This staff has the ability to prevent foes from moving more than 1 space through their next action after any combat. If paired with an ally with positioning skill, foe would never be able to reach you. Genny's assist skill is Psychic, a unique healing skill that restores 8 HP of an ally from 2 spaces away. As you know, most healer would need to be adjacent to a target for restoring HP, but with this skill, You could heal over an obstacle, a cliff, mountain, etc. She also has a new passive in slot B, a passive skill that will most likely change the perception of healer from now on. The name of this skill is Wrathful Staff. It enables staff weapon to deal damage equal to other weapons. No more damage penalty for staff user with this skill. Heavenly Light is her default special. It recovers 10 HP of all other allies when she's healing a target ally with a staff. It's like a global healing skill that has a short trigger count of 2. Genny's weaknesses are her low HP and defense, a common trait among healers, as their main function is to restore HP at the back line. Covers and tanks are needed to ensure their safety at all times. Let's have a look at her recommended skill build. First, her staff gravity will remain unchanged. As for healing skill, you could swap Psychic with Rehabilitate. The lower the target adjacent ally HP is, the more this skill will heal. For his special, we will keep Heavenly Light for its global healing factor. Now for passives. As some of you may know, staff user has limited skill to be inherited in passive A. Ideally speaking, the best passive for her would be Distant Defense from Silica. Alternately, you could give her any stats boosting passive too. For passive B, it will remain unchanged. Lastly, for her passive in slot C, it is recommended to give her Breath of Life. This skill restores 7 HP of all adjacent allies whenever she initiates an attack, healing while attacking, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The recommended IV for Genny would be a plus attack, minus resistance. So what's your thought on this banner? Are you going to spend all your orbs on Silica? Which is your favorite among these 4? Leave a comment below. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Aki Gaming for more interesting content. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you soon.